Well, good afternoon, good morning. This is Scott, and I'm in my futility shed again. And I've got couple of pieces of wood here that have the typical problem. This particular piece of cherry has a bit of wobble to it. And the problem is, it's got a twist. And this isn't very much. And as it turns out, I need a 24-inch piece out of this 34-inch strip. So which end has the least twist to it? My other problem is this piece, also cherry, only its wobble much more pronounced. This thing is a few years ago, this would have been a piece of firewood. Today, I'm going to try and salvage it. So let's see how this turns out. First, back to this piece, I want to see how bad my twist is, and I want to see which end has more twist to it than perhaps the other. I'm hoping that this has come fairly flat and then at the end has decided to twist. Or it may be I've got a twist that's consistent the whole length. Don't know yet, but there's a way to find out. So what I've got now is a couple of lengths of just scrap wood. I'm going to put one at this end, and I've made some marks on the wood at about 24 inches from that end. And I can simply look at this and see what my twist is by comparing how these sticks relate to each other. Right now, I expect to see a very narrow X shape, and I'd love to see that these are parallel or more parallel. What I'll do is I'll also check from this end out 24 inches from it and see if one end or the other is less twisty. So I'm going to mount my clamps on here so I can examine this wood without it falling off. Okay, so I've clamped on these winding sticks or winding sticks. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. W-I-N-D-I-N-G. And I want to see just how close to parallel they are. And I think you can see they're just not quite parallel. It's about the thickness of the winding stick off. So you can see a little bit of if I go this way, you can see the gap. And as I close up, there's just a little bit of gap left at that end. So that's not bad. I can probably work with that. Let me try the other end and see how that looks. So I've moved the winding sticks, whatever, to the other end of the board to see just how much twist I've got from this end. And as I look down, there's actually a bit more twist to my eye. Hard to tell with the camera. There's a bit more twist at this end than there was at the other. So I know the other end was better. Now you don't need the clamps, right? You could have laid this thing down flat on the workbench and just laid these out and sighted down them. Only clamped them on there because it was easier for the camera. So now I know what I need to do. And for this particular piece of wood, once I get it squared up, I'm going to book match it. I'm going to split this. I need a 12-inch wide. This is 8 inches. So I can get a beautiful 6-inch piece out of this. Book match it, resaw it, book match it, glue it up again. And I'm going to have a beautiful tabletop out of this little piece of cherry. So that's one little technique using winding sticks. And before we actually get to that, I need to explain something. This still has a bit of wobble to it. I haven't gotten rid of all the twist. And I'm not too worried. When I run this through the bandsaw, as the bandsaw is resawing this along its width, I will simply keep the edge here flush to the resaw fence. And so I'll end up with parallel pieces, each of them with a bit of twist to it. And as I cut them off, the stresses relieve in the wood, and I might have more twist or less. We'll see. I'm not too worried about the twist because I intend to glue this down onto a substrate of probably 3/8 inch plywood, depending upon how thick the Resaw is. And when I do that, it'll have a nice firm underlay, and I'm only having to untwist a fairly thin piece of wood at that point. So the glue will hold it square and flat against the substrate. At that point, I should be in good shape. We'll see. Okay, and this is the 6-inch wide board that had a mild twist to it. This we resawed and opened up, bookmatched it, and I bookmatched it onto a sheet of 1/2 inch plywood. This totals out to about 7/8 thick, which is just right. And look at that figure. Oh, that is just remarkable. Just love how this cherry turns out. Open it up and there's a surprise. So this is going to be the top of a part of a table, and I think the customer is going to be very happy looking at that every day. Looking forward to the final build on this. Okay, well, here's the finished piece. They say when everything's been said and done, a lot more has been said than done. I hate these shadows. But here is that finished piece, assembled on its box. Here is that terribly twisted piece that we had to cut into smaller pieces and glue back together. But there's not a seam to be seen. It is absolutely beautiful, absolutely flat, and we have a finished box, part of a 4-piece table.